any shape or form, and this doesn't make sense, right? And allow that, it can be also really beautiful. And you know it's the time to step back and to take care of that. So you kind of bring resistance into your beautiful creations, which is actually not what you want at all. As you do so, a lot of questions will fade. But isn't that beautiful to know? I mean, then you know. Even in my darkest nights, the potential to choose light is always given. The potential to choose dark is always given. My life and all I live is one potential out of infinite. Only one, and I can choose differently. This is where the magic lies, in the choosing. This is where the magic lies, in the choosing. This is where the magic lies, in the choosing. We don't fight dark, we choose light. We don't fight dark, we choose light. We don't fight dark, we choose light. Because the potential to choose light is always given. The potential to change is a promise that is given. Hey there. Welcome to day 28. Well, quite some time ago, I've decided to commit myself to a 30-day challenge where I every day create and upload one YouTube video. And today is day 28, so welcome. And you might notice, I feel extraordinarily vulnerable today. And I was even kind of wondering whether I want to record right now, whether I just want to kind of keep on releasing because I literally feel like crying the whole day almost. Not each and every moment, still. It's like I've made new choices within myself with a lot of, conviction or a lot of determination, And today, maybe it's just now cracking the old away. Because, first of all, today a lot of mental chatter is arising that is just kind of trying to convince me that this all was a wrong idea. All those decisions that I've made within myself, which led to a few actions outside of me, but those actions are not on physical level, not that big in that sense, but the energy obviously behind that is. And even though those are small little actions, it's like everything is collapsing somehow in some shape or form. And I'm aware of that, and that's how I'm going through my day, being just very gentle and meditating a lot and staying aware, staying the observer of everything that is happening within this body. And so I was wondering if I want to record, because even now I feel like very vulnerable is the only word that I have right now for that. And like I'm always almost on a point where I maybe burst out in tears. Is that how you say it? But as you see now, I'm sitting here, so I've decided I'm going to do it because I just felt it. It's different than the other days when I've really decided that I need that day off from that, so to say, and I'm just going to integrate and release and allow my body to just be. It's different, even though it's kind of something like that. It is different though. And anyways, well, I'm sitting here, right? So you know how I've decided, but it's maybe even a beautiful topic, because when you make decisions and you really mean them and you really allow your whole body to feel those decisions, and even you're already at a point where you then make the first step, so to say, that comes out from this new energy and those decisions, well, I think everything that has been alive within you needs to collapse then. And this is what kind of is happening right now to me, and I think it's a good sign, obviously, even though it doesn't feel that good in the body yet. But I realize it's a good sign, because now those decisions were made on a new level. Even action doesn't always require action right away, actually, but in this case, in my particular case, there was action already involved. It just came with it, and now everything really feels kind of chaotic, and this is the chaos that feels like chaos, but is actually order on some level. You know what I mean? And I think this is what's happening, because it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense at all that I made those decisions and everything felt really perfectly, and almost like the next moment, in this case the next day, when I woke up, suddenly the exact opposite. Is like everything is kind of, in a sense, aroused and feels suddenly chaotic, like nothing makes sense anymore, and every little piece that I look at does not make sense at all in any shape or form. And this doesn't make sense, right? When it, as the day before, made so much sense, and there was this clarity throughout my whole body, and now I think it's just like a typical experience of now the old like kind of pressed away. And yesterday, the day 27, linearly speaking, yesterday we were talking about worthiness, and we have to step into our worthiness, or others take advantage of us, right? And I think I made a decision that has to do anything with worthiness in so many different levels, so to say. And I think the old illusion is now just releasing from the body. That's what's happening. And this decision must be bigger than I thought it is, because now that my whole life seems to not make sense anymore, you know where I'm getting at? Like, what is my life? Suddenly nothing made sense, or nothing that you look at makes sense in any way. And that's the biggest sign that this decision is even bigger than I thought it was. So everything crumbles away now, right? That is an illusion, and it starts, of course, within myself and with my body. So, but isn't that beautiful to know? I mean, then you just have to allow that, right? And as I do so, the whole day, really, as I do so, as I'm just treating myself very, very gently, and I just like go with the flow, right? So I'm not frustrated that it is that way. I'm not hating myself that it is that way. I just don't allow those thoughts to, I don't allow myself to identify with those thoughts, So they're just there, they arise and I allow them to leave. It is uncomfortable, but I'm just picking the things that I know that I need right now that will also help the body and serve the body. And when you can allow that, it can be also really beautiful. Because it often, I think, it gets very uncomfortable when we don't allow that, because we have to do this, we have to do that, we cannot take the time for this. But when we can allow that with a really good heart and a good feeling that we need rest, that we need to, that we meditate, that we don't fight that we meditate now, but we know that it is good for us and it helps the body, right? And it helps your mind, and therefore it helps yourself. And when we can allow that and do not go into resistance mode, then this is just actually a beautiful experience, even though it is maybe uncomfortable because of certain things that have to move through body. But really, I think really painful it only truly gets when we don't take the time for the things. For example, that your body could need a bath right now, or to help to release, and then maybe sleep a little or meditate even more or have some good food, you know what I mean, and then take a walk and then you again meditate, just because it helps to soothe the mind, and it helps you to detach from it, especially when it gets even more aroused. And when we can allow those things, knowing that everything that we set aside for a moment will only benefit from it, then this can be such a beautiful experience. And yet, even if you have maybe appointments that are kind of set in stone, right? They're never set in stone, truly. But sometimes it feels like that because at, I don't know, 3 you have an appointment or something like that. But even for that, there can be a solution if we only allow ourselves to see it that way. And so the obvious thing is maybe we can kind of change the time of it, right? Or maybe we do everything before that we need to do, and then for that period of time it's okay, but then we go back to knowing what the body needs, right? There's so many different examples for that, but I think you know what I'm getting at. And everything we want to do is only benefiting from that, always. And I think it's only when we don't allow ourselves to really take it what it is that we need for ourselves to smoothly go through that is when it's becoming truly painful. And otherwise it's uncomfortable, but you become so aware, and this is beautiful. Now the tears start to come a little. That's a beautiful experience in and of itself, because it just is. It's the only way I can describe it. It just is. But we have to free ourselves from thinking that this is wrong. But we've been trained to think that. I know that, because we feel lazy, right? We think we have to push through, and I don't know, all those things. But this is not true. Especially the pushing through part is actually not the best thing that you can do, especially when you want your creations to kind of bloom and benefit from your beautiful energy. And I mean, if you have to push through, I mean, what does that mean? You have resistance, right? So you kind of bring resistance into your beautiful creations, which is actually not what you want at all. So when we allow ourselves to let that go, and to don't think that we need to do something, but that is all. Actually, even if you're in the middle of a creation that you actually would love to do, so often we come into a state of, why am I this way now, and cannot just follow that through, and we get frustrated with ourselves. But the funny thing is that this is part of that illusion we need to release, because it's not you're saying that, even though it is your passion and even though it is your creation, but it's not you that is saying that. It is the conditioned mind that is now getting frustrated because things don't go faster. Because it's a program that always says we're wrong, right? So when we're feeling that way, but we want to do that thing, then we must be wrong. The way we behave is wrong, the way we feel is wrong, the way we think is wrong. And as you can think about it, where that comes from. Of course, we've been trained to think that right from the beginning, right? But this is not serving us. And I realized, especially now that I'm saying that, this phase, so to say, I don't think that's the most accurate word for it, but, or this state is part of that creation and is part of that game. It doesn't mean it has to be that way, but when it is that way, when it undeniably is that way, you need that space, and this is part of the game as much as then the creation, the physical creation itself, for example, is part of the game, or even just the energy you set in motion for a creation that has not shown physically yet is also part of the game. It is all part of the game and part of the creation then. And if we only can allow ourselves to know that and to remember that, then we don't get tempted so much to think that when we do not physically paint yet, or when we do not physically, I don't know, you know what I mean, then we're not working on it. We're not doing anything for it. And this always then feels in the body like we're not moving, right? And that is a lie, because we're always moving. Energy is always in motion. And even if it then looks on the physical level, things are not moving, but the physical expression is not what you should take as proof whether things are moving or not, because it's not. When in physical expression everything seems to stand still, this is not proof that nothing is moving. So, and the other thing that comes up now that I want to talk about is how important then stillness is. And I think a creator that is truly living as who he or she truly is and creating life that way knows that to such a degree that they know when it's time to just step back physically for a moment, because the whole system, because the honoring of the body and the mind and the now moment, right, is so there, is so important that they then don't fight when they realize, okay, whoa, now the body needs adjustment, right? I mean, the decision I have made, for example, caused the body to kind of get into this state, and so everything kind of comes up. The body was still holding on to all those fears, and now it's maybe trying one more time to kind of keep you from doing that because it's so terrified, right? And it's so, and you know it's the time to step back and to take care of that. And that's actually a good thing, because then you know, oh my God, it's working. What I'm doing is working, otherwise that could not come up, right? And stillness is such an important point, because in those moments we often feel like we don't have any answer to anything. And since nothing makes sense anymore, everything that used to work only a few hours ago suddenly seemed to not work at all any longer. The answers you had if only a few hours ago suddenly doesn't seem to fit any longer. Something has shifted. And I have no idea yet what that means. And that's why the whole system is kind of collapsing, or at least anything that was a lie that is now crumbling away. Because as you release that, I know you will feel clarity again. But the thing is, and the beauty is, we can now make the decision to where to get our answers from, right? Because when we take that time for ourselves, then we stop seeking outside. And we just know what we need to do is the body needs to release the emotion. I need to let go of those thoughts. I just need to let go of those thoughts in order for this new vibration that I have obviously kind of set in motion with my decisions, that I can hold that vibration consistently. And even through this state where now everything seems to kind of be chaotic and everything comes up, I need to hold that state by being and staying the observer as best as I can, knowing that I release any thought that does not belong into that new point of attraction, to that new frequency. And it's easy to say which thought, right, belongs there, because you feel it, especially when the whole system is kind of aroused. You feel it, you know it. Is that part of how I think when I am in my true core power? Well, no. You know it, you will feel it. But what also comes up, and that's what I wanted to say, is that we usually then seeking answers because out of that unresting state, wanting answers fast because everything seems chaotic and we want it. It's not us, right? It's the conditioning wants to gain control again in the old way. So we might rush to YouTube, want to watch YouTube videos, we want to talk to someone for answers, but the beauty about that, as I realize, is that those answers only now can come from within. Because when you do that, when you do rush onto YouTube, when you try to find answers in some videos or whatever, then you will feel it's not satisfying at all. It will only drive you further and further into that frustration. And when you're talking to a friend or to someone, or you're kind of trying to get the information somewhere out of there, then you will feel that maybe they don't understand you, they don't get you, or it doesn't feel that feeling. It doesn't make that feeling go away because it only drives that more, it only kind of drives you more into that state of incoherence and kind of survival and chaotic feeling, because you're trying to fix something that doesn't really need to be fixed. It only needs to be released. And the answer lies right kind of behind that, because the answers then you have to the questions that you have, the answers to that are right there, but we cannot see them in that moment because the chaotic state clouds it all. Everything is kind of everywhere, all around you. Now the only thing you have to do is actually release what you know is the lie, because that is obviously very present now. And as you do so, a lot of questions will fade, because a lot of those questions just come from that fear of not knowing and wanting to know answers. But when you release that, those questions will kind of fade, and the answers you truly need and will just come from within. And when you then come even into a calmer state, then, as I feel now, for example, so I'm even able to make that video, right? Nothing is kind of in rage or something like that, or very much aroused. But you might find yourself having a few questions because you feel like, and it just feel like it's not even a particular question, but you feel like there is this new space and you want to kind of fill it, right? But you cannot force that. And so the question could be what to do next, right? Or something like that. What is happening next? What to do next? What's the right action next? And those answers, when they're not right, obvious to you, because they are there, but they might be not as obvious to you in that moment, they can only come from within. So the best thing you can actually do is kind of meditate on them. And by that, I don't mean going to the meditation with that question and repeat it in your mind or something like that. That might be a technique that also works. Maybe sometimes, I'm sure it does. But what I mean by that is to really releasing it all, to allow it to just kind of come to the surface, because it is already there anyways. You know what I mean? So you kind of just allow yourself to even let go of the question. Because for as long as you kind of hold on to that question, you're always in that frequency of that question, and the frequency of the answer is right there, but you're not in that frequency of the answer. So you're not in the receptive mode to receive that answer, to see it, right? Because you're fixated on the question, you're fixated on the problem, you're fixated on, I don't know what to do next. So you're in that state, right? And in that state, you only receive things that are matched to a state like that. And since you don't feel like you have answers, the answer cannot come to you because it's not part of that state. So this is the best thing you can truly do is really letting the answers come from within. I mean, very often life communicates through everything with us. And so also through people, when you listen closely and you know they're talking about something, and it's not, they're doing it not on purpose, but life is kind of using them and what they're saying to get a message to you. You know what I mean? And that's also a beautiful way, but especially in a moment or in a state where everything seems chaotic, nothing makes sense, and really the best thing you can do is close your eyes and just go within. Go within and allow yourself and your heart to speak to you. Because you already know it. And if you're fine with knowing that you already know it, even though you cannot physically comprehend it yet, because physically you do not know it, your physical mind doesn't know it. If you're all right with that, then you can feel that truth. Because then you're opening your focus. You have released what needed to be released, and you're in a calm state, and you feel it. You know that you know it. And you know that even if you cannot explain it in your mind yet and translate it yet, but you know you don't need to. Because it is there. You feel that it is there. And you feel it. I feel it now. I just feel it. And then you're just fine with the moment the way it is, and you come back to enjoying yourself. And then you realize, wow, the next thing to do is actually this. And then it's the smallest thing, really, like making a meal. I don't know, the smallest thing that seems so small, at least. And then in the moment you least expect it, when your body is ready, you know what I mean, when your whole system is ready, you will be able to translate that. And it's really sooner than you know. And it's beautiful when it comes that way, because it's just proof. It's coming from within, you know. And actually, I love that. I love to just sit with that feeling. But in order for you to be able to do that, you have to be fine with sitting in the unknown. You have to be fine with not knowing yet. But knowing it's okay, and knowing it's not only okay, it's actually great. It's not just like accept that things are going to get worse or something like that. Just accept what it is. It's more like you don't even think that way because you just feel that that doesn't even make any sense that it would be that way, right? Because you're not in that state. You decide, right, whether it's going to be good or not. And when you truly know that, you can just sit with yourself. And suddenly you feel so whole, so abundant, even though nothing physically changed yet. And that is the answer. That is the state you need for the answer to come, for the clarity to arise, for the next move to come to you to know to do. And because out of that stillness, everything arises. And when you're on the path of conscious awakening, you already know that, but we maybe forget sometimes. So we kind of come into that state, we start to remember and learn that, so to say. And out of that, creation mode is inevitable, right? So we start physically creating, and kind of in the middle of creation, we kind of forget what got us there and forget to step back in the right moments, right? And then we kind of get into action mode again, so to say. And because we don't want the action to stop, right? But that is only then again that conditioning that we again even more need to release, because who we truly are, we know we know what to do when, right? When we feel it, that this is time for now, this is time now for stillness, it's time now for this, it's time now for that, time now to take care of the body. We know it and we just do it. The only thing that gets frustrated is the conditioning that things need to be done. That is actually beautiful when it comes up, because we want to see that it is there, right? Because each of us is kind of releasing that personally, and also all of us collectively. That is just something we've been training ourselves into, and this is just not serving us at all. So you cannot just throw yourself into action and just ignore the way you feel. Even if you're doing things you love, you only bring resistance into your passions, into your joy, actually usually joyful things. And you kind of mix it all with weirdness. And you don't want to do that. You want to allow. We want to allow. And when emotions come up, we cannot just rush into something. We need to allow ourselves to recognize that and to release that, and give the body the time and space to release that, and ourselves as well to detach from the thoughts that come with it, because we maybe have up until this point had no idea that we were still thinking like that. This is still within us. And to me right now, I just feel like sitting and feeling this immense energy. And remembering that I choose in any moment. You choose in any moment. So I want to sing one more time Potential right now. And you are very much invited to just close your eyes if you want to. And to just feel your truth in it. Because we choose. You choose and I choose. No matter how dark it looks, right? Or weird. Sometimes it looks just weird. I don't even know if it's dark or it's just weird. Yeah. Even in my darkest night, the potential to choose light is always given. The potential to choose dark is always given. My life and all I live is one potential out of infinite. Only one, and I can choose differently. This is where the magic lies, in the choosing. This is where the magic lies, in the choosing. This is where the magic lies, in the choosing. We don't fight dark, we choose light. We don't fight dark, we choose light. We don't fight dark, we choose light. Because the potential potential to choose light is always given. The potential to change is a promise that is given. So if you feel to do so, I would love for you to share whatever it is you want to share in the comments, and everything you find in the description box down below to follow my social media. If you feel called to, you have the opportunity to support my journey. The link for that is in the description box down below as well. And if you do so, if you contribute in any shape or form, however, if it's money, if it's liking, if it's subscribing, if it's commenting, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, because I just do, and this is just so important to me. And everyone, everything and everyone that is contributing in some shape or form, I just really appreciate that. And remember, you are worthy of your own voice, that there the tears come, of your own truth, of your own sounds, of your own knowing, of your own joy, passion, of your own self. So, I see you for day 29, and I wish you a beautiful time, worthy soul.